Usually, standing in the courtroom, the culprits regret their actions while getting sentenced for the crimes. But there are times when the culprits don't even feel remorse for their actions. How stonehearted would they be for not feeling any emotions? Let's see 7 such incidents in this video. Number 1. Joseph Paul Franklin. Joseph was one of Missouri's most notorious racists, continuously striving to start a racial conflict whenever he could. He was filled with hatred for anyone who was not a white Christian. His attempted murder of Larry Flynt for creating a magazine cover showing an interracial couple is what made him most famous. We can see how he describes his hate for these kinds of images in this video. Of course, Joseph also caused the deaths of 22 other men and women who were not white, demonstrating his true lack of remorse for what he did. Before being shot to death, CNN spoke with Joseph, who described how he genuinely believed that his deeds were right and came from God. Number 2. Randall Moore. At his sentencing, a man who had been convicted of killing his estranged wife stated that he felt no regret for what he had done. Teresa Ann Lynch Moore was killed, and a police officer was hurt as a result of a hostage scenario in Des Moines on a Thursday exactly 1 year ago. Teresa Ann Lynch Moore was abducted and murdered by Randall Moore, who was found guilty. Todd Rowland, a Des Moines police officer, was also shot by Randall Moore. For killing Teresa Ann and shooting Rowland, Moore received 25 years in prison and 3 consecutive life terms. Court experts say the penalty was exceptional due to Moore's profanity-filled remarks about his victim's mother, his lengthy rant in court, and a dispute over Teresa Ann Lynch Moore's childhood photographs that Moore claimed belonged in hell. But after that, it was Judge Joel Novak's turn to speak. Teresa Ann's personal belongings weren't what Moore should be worried about, according to Novak. Moore and their family members had the option to read victim impact statements before the sentence was handed down. Moore talked for about 11 minutes. Judge Novak gave Moore 3 life sentences for his crimes against Teresa Ann Lynch. He also received a 25-year jail term for shooting Officer Rowland. To emphasize the gravity of the act and Moore's contempt for the law, he mandated that the sentences be served consecutively. Number 3. Keith Ferguson. A Michigan man was charged with murder, home invasion, and kidnapping after allegedly shooting his wife and father-in-law to death. At Kalkaska District Court on Wednesday, 40-year-old Keith A. Ferguson of Kalkaska was charged with open murder, possession of a firearm, and other offenses. Sheriff David Israel confirmed that Ferguson would be represented by a court-appointed attorney after a judge set his bond at $10 million. In Kalkaska County in November 2022, Keith Ferguson shot and killed his ex-wife, Tiffany Ferguson, and his father-in-law, James Weber. Ferguson's 4 children were left motherless as a result of the crimes. Ferguson was taken into custody by police after he freed a hostage and fled the house where he had locked himself for many hours starting late on a Tuesday. Authorities reported that at residences in the county, Ferguson killed his wife, Tiffany Ferguson, 42, and his father-in-law, James Weber, 63. The sheriff told the Associated Press that they had all the proof and also the witnesses, including his own children who saw him kill these other family members. Moreover, they had indirect admissions from him. According to court documents, Tiffany Ferguson filed for divorce in September, and a hearing was set for this Friday. Israel claimed that after the couple's children fled from their grandfather's home, they went to a neighbor and claimed that their father had shot both their parents. A Kalkaska County Sheriff's deputy who lived next door dialed 911. Israel said in a statement that at about the same time, Keith Ferguson dialed 911 from a residence in Orange Township and threatened to shoot any responding cops while claiming to have a hostage. After a 7-hour siege, Ferguson gave himself up, and the captive, who Israel claimed wasn't a relative and seemed to have been abducted at random, was disarmed. Keith Ferguson's admission of murder was met with joy and relief by those close to Tiffany Ferguson and James Weber. Family friend Barbara Clem expressed her amazement, stating that she had assumed that if he were going to confess, he would have done so that evening. The Kalkaska County prosecutor said that Ferguson became irritated and disturbed during his plea, so the judge made the decision to take a break. Ferguson returned, much more collected. According to Peralt, he was ready to continue the case. Ferguson responded very briefly, wanting the judge to give him a sentence to kill him. The judge asserted that something was fundamentally wrong with him, according to the UpNorthLive.com account. Number 4. Shondell Jackson. In this next clip, you can see a young inmate named Shondell Jackson. After being found guilty of the murder of a college student, he is present at his sentencing hearing in the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Reports claim that they were searching for victims. 18-year-old Jackson and his friends spotted Potter leaving a bar. The victim, Nathan Potter, 21, attended the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee for his undergraduate studies. They pursued Potter and yelled at him for money. When Jackson discovered that Potter had no money, however, the situation changed. He was instantaneously murdered by Jackson's gunshot. The day following Potter's murder, according to officials, Jackson fled to Mississippi. It was his uncle who reportedly tipped off the police on his whereabouts, where he was arrested. We can see that while he was on trial, Jackson made gestures towards the victim's family, and when he was escorted out of the courtroom, you can see him smiling at the family just before the sentencing. Jackson's mother told the court she first heard about the killing on TV. "When I saw it on the news, I even cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster." Jackson has finally admitted that his actions were wrong. As the judge gave Jackson a life sentence without the possibility of release, Jackson began to lose his cool. While Jackson is being restrained by the police, you can hear a member of Jackson's family yelling at the victim's family. While Jackson's companion, who acknowledged acting as the lookout, was given a 12-year prison term. Jackson is currently serving a life sentence without the possibility of release. Number 5. Joanna Dennehy. 3 men were killed in 2013 by 33-year-old Joanna, who is referred to as a spree killer. 2 of the victims were brutally butchered for pleasure. Joanna also set a goal of 9 murders in the hope that one day she could be compared to Bonnie from Bonnie and Clyde, who the judge described at her hearing as being cruel, cunning, and selfish. Joanna described the entire incident as a game, and treated it like a joke with a smile on her face from the moment she was arrested until the judge gave her a life sentence in court. She is also one of only 3 English women to have ever received a life sentence. Number 6. TJ Lane. In this clip, the teen is seen yelling and pointing the middle finger at the victim's family. TJ Lane, a teen, stood before the judge to receive his punishment for the Ohio shooting in 2012. Lane attended his sentencing hearing, where he was given a life sentence while sporting a homemade t-shirt with the word "killer" scrawled in black marker. When TJ was 17 years old, he shot 3 students dead and 3 others injured. Despite being a minor at the time of the assault, he was prosecuted as an adult and was given 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Yet the story is not over yet. TJ was able to escape prison many years after the incident. He and 2 other inmates escaped Ohio's Allen Correctional Prison 8 days before his birthday. He escaped and fled using a makeshift ladder. They made use of it to scale a fence in their free time. Locals were instructed to lock their doors as authorities launched a statewide hunt. Once both were apprehended, TJ was locked up for 23 hours every day in a solitary cell. Number 7. Tommy Sells. In 2014, 14 years after his original arrest, Tommy Sells was found guilty of the confirmed deaths of over 22 adults and children between 1980 and 2000, and given the death penalty by electric chair. Though the precise number of victims is still unknown, we can attribute this to a domino effect caused by his inattentive mother, who let one of their friends abuse him. People are so strange and crazy. Because Tommy's story was featured in the television program Nightline, we were able to gain a deeper understanding of what psychopaths think and feel. His thoughts about how someone can feel satisfied after killing someone for the first time are terrifying. With that, we've come to the end of this video. If you like this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up. For more videos like this, click on the links you see on the screen. We'll come back again with more content. Until then, goodbye.